Hey there, Frederick Douglass Elementary School. This is Mrs. Shupard, and today we're going to be drawing two different kinds of robots. So let's go ahead and get started. The first robot that we're going to draw is going to have mostly just shapes that are easy shapes for you to draw, like rectangles and circles. So let's start with the first shape, which is going to be a rectangle. We're going to draw a rectangle up here at the top for his head. And then we're going to do half of a circle on top. We're gonna do a little tiny rectangle on top of that, and we're gonna give him an antenna with a circle. Okay, so that's his head with the antenna on top. We're gonna draw two small rectangles for his neck. Then we're going to draw, it's gonna be either a rectangle or a square depending on how big you want to draw his body. So you're going to draw this top line of his body that's going to come out the same length as his head. So kind of stop drawing that line when it gets lined up with the head, and then draw the sides of his body. And if you want him to have a nice long body, you can draw a rectangle, or if you want his body to stop right about there, then that will wind up being more like a square. You can draw some details on the inside of his body, so I'm going to put another rectangle here and maybe a little button down here like a circle. And for his legs, start out here at the edge and draw a straight line down and a straight line down for a rectangle for the top of his leg, and then do the same thing on this side and try to make these two rectangles about the same size. If they don't match exactly, that's okay. We're going to put a little rectangle here for almost like a knee where the robot's leg would be able to bend, and then we're going to put another rectangle down here at the bottom of his leg. And then for his foot, we'll make an easy rectangle, a nice skinny easy rectangle down here, and the same on this side. So when you're drawing the legs, try to get the rectangles to match on both sides so that they look almost the same. For his arms, we're going to draw a triangle on both sides so that his arms can kind of be a little bit away from his body instead of right up next to his body. The triangle is going to give us that room to make it coming away from the body. So you're going to do a thin rectangle here for the top of his arm. Then try to match it on the other side. And then you're going to draw a thin rectangle going this direction, almost like an elbow, so his robot arms can bend. And then we're going to do, it's not quite a rectangle, these lines are going to come out a little bit. So a line here and a line here that get a little bit wider on this side. And then you can go ahead and draw a straight line across like that. And then we're going to do a thin rectangle going this direction, almost like a wrist, so that his arm can bend like a wrist down at the bottom. And then we're going to draw a curve like this and another curve like this, and we're going to connect it right here, and then that's going to give him like hands, but he'll be able to move it like this so that he can grab things. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Here we go. Somehow this hand and arm got a little bit shorter than this one, but that's okay. And then up here for the face, we're just gonna add a few more details. We're gonna do a thin rectangle on this side, almost like an ear. And then we're gonna do the eyes, or 2 circles, small circle, and then a bigger circle around it. And then for the mouth, we're gonna do 2 rectangles. 1 bigger rectangle, and then a smaller rectangle on the inside. All right, and that's our first robot. For our second robot, we're gonna do it a little bit differently. We're gonna get the same parts of the body, like the arms and the legs and the head, but we are going to do it a little bit differently. And remember that robots are your own creation. Everybody makes their robot however they want, so you don't have to copy mine exactly. You can make it however you want to make your own robot. For my second robot, I'm going to draw a rounded head, and then I'm going to draw a straight line at the bottom. And I want to make it look like it was 2 pieces of metal, or maybe even 4 pieces of metal that were connected together. So I'm going to draw a line that goes kind of down the middle. And I'm going to draw these little circles to make it look like my robot was bolted together. So these are the bolts holding it together. I'm going to draw another line down here at the bottom, and I'm going to draw some more bolts so that it looks like these pieces of metal were bolted together down here at the bottom of his head. And then I'm going to draw some ovals for the eyes. And I'm going to draw smaller ovals on the inside. And then I'm going to take my pencil and shade around the smaller oval so that it looks like he has black eyes with a little bit of white on the inside. All right, for this robot's ears, I want to draw like little light bulbs. So I'm going to draw a curve on this side and a curve on this side. And then I want to make that little tiny electrical element that goes on the inside of a light bulb. So the way I'm going to do that is a straight line, and then I'm going to curl it and come over, and then I'm going to curl it and come down. Okay, watch again. You're going to come straight up and curl it, come over and curl it, and then come straight back down. All right, and then I want to make it look like the light is on, so I'm going to draw these lines that come out from the light bulb, and that way it makes it look like it's shining bright. The last thing I want to add for my robot's face is a smile, so I'm going to do one smile like that, and you could just keep it like that if you want to, because it does look like a little smiley face. But I'm going to do another curved line down here on the bottom, and then I'm going to color that in with my pencil to make it look like a nice big smile. All right, I'm going to do a little rectangle here for the neck, and this robot's body is going to be smaller than his head, so different than my first robot. My first robot had a smaller head and a bigger body. This robot, I'm going to do a smaller body and a bigger head. So I'm going to kind of round my rectangle this time. It's got a round edge here, rounded here on the corners instead of doing sharp corners. For his arms, I'm going to draw little tiny rectangles that come out from the side of his body. And then I'm going to draw up and then come down for his arm. And those are just rectangles, skinny little rectangles. Oop, that one went too long. And for his hands, I'm going to draw some circles. And I can draw little robot fingers. One, two, three, four, and a thumb. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and a thumb. All right, and then we're gonna draw his legs. These parts that I'm drawing next are gonna be like the hip bones. Like if you had hips, well, you do have hips. On the inside of your body, you have hips that look like this. So you have 3 rectangles for the hips, and then you have another rectangle for the top of the leg, and then you draw that same shape that we drew right here on this first robot. It's thinner up here and then wider down here. Same thing, thinner up here so that it can connect to this little rectangle, and then it gets wider when it gets down here. Almost like a triangle, but not quite. Okay, and then you can just draw a bump here for the shoe or the little robot foot. And if you want to add some more of those little circles to make it look like parts of the body are bolted together, you could always add some of those details wherever you want on your robot. So you can just go back and add more details wherever you want. You could even add some patterns, so you could add like stripes to the hands, stripes to the hip bones, not actually bones, just more metal. So you could add some buttons if you wanted your robot to have some buttons here that you could press for him to do different things for you. You could have some buttons on him. And then I think that's it for the drawing portion. Let's go ahead and start coloring our robots. Well, I hope you had fun drawing and coloring our robots today. And the last thing I want to say before we go is that there is the great Fred Strong egg hunt that's going on now through Frederick Douglass Elementary School's social media. And just in case you are playing along, I do have the number 10 egg color for you. It's lime green for the egg number 10. So if you are following along, you're going to submit your answers here. And let's see if we can zoom in on that so you can see it better. This is where you go on the internet to post all of your answers. So you should be collecting the colors of all the eggs. The first one is red. It's right here. This is what the first one is, and you collect all the colors. And I'm just showing you that number 10 is lime green. And this is where you go to submit your answers. Good luck!